Hello queens. I'm back at y'all with another client tutorial, and today I'm bringing y'all this fall glam and we're jumping straight into the video. I'm starting this off by cleaning my client's face. Now that her face is all clean, we're just going to start on her eyebrows, and I'm going in with my Nicka K brow pencil, and I believe this one is in the shade black. Since it's in the shade black, I try to use a light hand whenever I'm using it on my clients because I don't want it to be too dark. As you can see, I'm just going in and I'm outlining her brows first. I'm going to outline them both to try to get them as symmetrical as possible, and then I'm going to go in and fill in the sparse areas. Now that both of the brows have been outlined, I'm going to go ahead and start filling them in. And like I said, y'all, since I'm using a black pencil, I'm trying to be as light-handed as possible. I'm going to make sure that I really blend them out just so I can have that nice ombre effect. I'm taking some clear eyelash glue and I'm applying this throughout her brow hairs to lay them down in place. To clean up her eyebrows, I'm taking my two Nicka K concealers, and they're in the shades 07 and 12. First, I'm going in with the shade 07 because it's lighter, and I'm using this to clean up underneath her arch. Now for the remainder of the way on the top and the bottom of her brows, I'm just going to be going in with the shade number 12. I apologize for all this talking, y'all. This is one of my sugar lumps, so we will be talking through the entirety of this video. And it's crazy because when she came and sat down, I told her, I was like, I'm not about to talk to you today, Coco. But as y'all can see, she just wanted to talk to me so bad, like, oh my gosh. But anyway, as y'all can see, I went ahead and cleaned up one brow, so I'm just gonna go ahead and finish cleaning up this one. For an eyeshadow base, I'm going in with my Nicka K concealer, and I want to say it's in the shade 01. And I'm just going to be applying this all over her lids. Try to apply it as evenly as possible, because if we have an even base, then we'll also have even eyeshadows. I'm going in with my RCMA no color powder, and I'm going to be applying this throughout the front of her brows to lighten them up. And I'm also going to be using it to set the concealer in place. Starting off this look, I'm going in with my Lick and Lash Spice palette, and I'm taking the shade Rocky, which is like this plum shade, as y'all can see, and I'm just applying it to the outer edge of her eyes. I'm going in with this violet shade. You can kind of see it on camera, and I'm using it to lightly blend around the edges. And then to add a little bit more color, I decided to go in with this reddish orange shade, and I'm using it as my transition. Although we're doing a cut crease, you want to leave the inner corners blank for now, because I'm going to go in with another transition for that area. Now I'm just taking the orange, and I'm using it as my final transition shade. I'm going back in with the color Rocky, and I'm using it to deepen up the crease. Now I'm just going to go ahead and repeat the process on the other eye. I'm going in with this yellow shade, and I'm just going to lightly apply it to the inner corners of her eyes. This will serve as our final transition, and once I have it all applied, I'm going to be taking my e.l.f. camo concealer, and I'm going to be using this to cut her crease. To blend out the edges of her cut crease, I'm taking this mustard yellow shade from one of my Bperfect palettes, and I'll try to have the shade name in the description box down below for y'all, but as you can see, I'm just applying it with this blending brush. I'm going back in with the shade Rocky, and I'm using it to blend out the end of the cut crease. Last but not least, I'm taking some of my RCMA no color powder and I'm using it to set the inner corners of her cut crease. I decided to keep them white. You can either set them with powder or go on top of it with a white matte eyeshadow. I'm going in with some black liquid liner and I'm just going to be doing a basic straight line across her eyes. This step is optional, but it does help a lot when it comes to blending the lashes. Now I'm taking some eyeshadow and I'm using it to blend out the end of that liner. Moving on to the face, I'm going in and I'm priming her skin using my Pond's moisturizer. Now I'm just going on top of that using some of my Smashbox Photo Finish Primer just so we can create a smooth and even base. My client does have oily skin, so I am going to go in with a generous amount of Calamine lotion, y'all. I'm going in with a generous amount, and I'm just going to let it dry first, and then I'm going to go in and blend it out with a dense foundation brush. I'm going in with my Nicka K concealer in the shade number 12, and I'm just using this to balance out her skin before we get into the foundation. For her foundation, I can't remember what shade that I went in with, but I know it's my Fit Me Matte and Poreless foundation. I'll try to have the shade name in the description box for y'all. Now I'm just pressing that foundation into her skin to blend it out. I like to use a dense foundation brush. I'm not really into sponges. I feel like brushes have more of a full coverage. To highlight her face, I'm going in with my Nicka K concealer in the shade number 7. Now I'm going back in with my foundation brush and I'm going to use it to blend that concealer out. Moving on to contour, I'm taking my Morphe concealer, and the shade name is on the screen. It's in the shade Mocha. And I'm going to be applying this to her cheekbones and using it as my contour. And y'all, I felt like this was the perfect shade for contour for her. It was so rich, but it wasn't too dark. It was just that subtleness that we needed. Like, it was perfect. And as you can see, it blended out so easily with this foundation brush. Now I'm going to take that same product and I'm going to use it to sculpt out her nose. Once I have the contour nice and blended, I'm going to go ahead and finish blending the concealer underneath her eyes. To set the concealer in place, I'm using my Morphe loose powder in the shade Banana Rich. I'm going in with my Black Radiance Press Powder in the shade Black Coffee, and I'm using this to set the contoured areas of her face. I'm taking my Fenty loose powder in the shade Hazelnut, and I'm using it to set the remaining areas of her face. Now I'm going in with some blush from my Juvia's Place palette, and I'm just applying it to the apples of her cheeks. Moving on to the under eyes, I'm taking some black gel liner and I'm using it to line her waterline. Now I'm going in with the shade Rocky and I'm just applying it to her lower lash line. Now I'm going in with this orange shade, and I'm going to be applying it right underneath Rocky. Now that the under eyes are finished, I'm going to go ahead and dust away all of the powder. I'm going to spray her face in place using this facial mist from Tower 28. And I had to cover up her hair, y'all, because she has a silk press. And who am I to mess up a good silk press, okay? Not doing it. But as her face is drying, I'm just going in with lashes. And I went ahead and cut them to fit her eyes off camera. To finish off her face, I'm going in with this orange toned highlighter. It was actually an eyeshadow, but I decided to use it as a highlighter. And I'm just applying it to the high points of her face. Now for the lips, I'm going in with some cream foundation. And I'm using this to outline her lips. This is going to serve as my lip liner. I like to blend out the edges of the liner before I apply the liquid lipstick, so that's what I'm doing right here. And once I have it all finished up, I'm going in with my Absolute New York liquid lipstick in the shade Terracotta. She hates any type of pink on her lips, y'all, so she was side-eyeing me a little bit, but that's okay. I'm gonna have her blend it out, and then I went on top of it with a lip gloss. This combo was cute, but I wanted the lips to match her eyeshadow a little bit more, so I decided to go in the center with this concealer, and that warmed them up perfectly. And I'm going to have her press her lips together again to help me further blend everything out. And once I have the lips finished, that'll be the completed look, and we'll be stepping into the grand reveal. So I'm going to let y'all watch.
Okay, you ready to see?
I'm ready.
Oh,
Make sure.
girl, come on. You look good, girl. For some reason. Okay, period.
It's giving Thanksgiving.
It's giving baddie. That's what it's giving. Girl, you look like an influencer.
A pink lip.
See, I told you now.
It's giving brown.
I told you it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I think this look came out so pretty. Normally when I do her makeup, we always stick to neutrals and like the natural glams. But this time we did some color with the eyeshadow. She didn't know what to expect, y'all. That's why she was side-eyeing me. But as you can see by my client's reaction, this tutorial was another success. We both love this look. I think this is perfect for the fall. And if you enjoyed too, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And make sure you stay tuned for my next one. Bye-bye, queen.
Perfect.
Make sure y'all go book Kita.
Period. Perfect.